Today I wanted to talk a little bit about staying curious whenever you're out about in your surroundings, whenever you're out sourcing, garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores, anything like that. And I've talked about it on and off in different videos before, but I found a few good examples in the past couple of days and wanted to share those just as an example of what being curious looks like. For me, it's been expanding my business, and we'll get into those details here in just a minute. But if it's your first time here, my name is Brian, and I'm a reseller. I sell on eBay in the everything category. I sell pots and pans and tools, stuffed animals, clothing, vacuums, you name it. If there's profit attached to it, I'm probably trying to sell it on eBay. I've been selling on eBay for about 6 years, and about 6 months ago, it became my full-time job. That, and I make YouTube videos. So glad you're here. And we're going to be talking about, today it's going to be focused on clothing just because it's the most recent kind of bigger shift I've made in my business. I started off in reselling and clothing, and then I evolved into an everything seller with a little bit of clothing. And I really let it work its way down to almost no clothing. And after, during the winter here, there wasn't a lot of estate sales or garage sales to go to necessarily. So I was really shifting towards thrift stores, and I couldn't always find the other stuff that I would find at an estate sale or garage sale there. I could sometimes, but not always. There's tons of clothing, and it's very, very saturated on eBay. I get that. It's not for everybody, and it's not my first choice whenever I'm outsourcing. I go check the pot and pan aisle, I check the hard goods aisle, I check for mugs and different glass pieces. I check for all sorts of other stuff before I get to the clothing. So it's just not the thing that I enjoy the most. I enjoy finding the good stuff, but I don't find joy in just sorting through all the clothing. It's so repetitive, and there's so much of it. It can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes whenever you look out and you see that expanse of clothing in the thrift stores. But I'm going to talk about being curious about brands, making sure you're taking your time as you're going through the racks. And I know sometimes, especially if people are doing it part-time, they might be there on lunch or on their way home just for 5 minutes or, looking for some deals. But we're going to talk about that. So in the past couple days, I've found 3 new brands that I didn't know about before I found them. And if I wasn't interested in clothing at all or paying some mind to it, there's a good chance I could have missed out on some pretty good money. So yesterday, I'm going to go in order of when I found them. Yesterday, I went to a garage sale and found this. This is a full-length duster. It has snaps inside and out, so you can actually make it shorter. You can fold this up and snap it, or snap it inside, make it shorter. But this is a super cool piece. This is Schaefer Outfitters. This is made in the USA, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. This is a size large. Just a nice heavy cotton with corduroy accents, the piping, very Western looking. It's an amazing piece. I have never seen a full-size duster at anywhere before, other than watching cowboy movies, which I watched a ton of growing up. So it really shocked me to see it at a garage sale and hanging up for $10. I thought, that's got to be worth more than $10. It's vintage, it's cool, it's a one-off kind of piece, and made in the USA. So I looked it up, comped it right there. And there's a sold comp for that exact one for $200, but there's listeds for anywhere between, say, 75 and 150. So I'm just going to kind of go down on the lower end and say I can get $75 for it. Yeah, so it's something that if I wasn't interested in clothing, I probably wouldn't have taken a second look at. But because I'm kind of on the hunt for clothes, I paid attention to it. It's the first thing I paid attention to whenever I walked up to the garage sale, and I think it's going to pay off for me. It was interesting, the pricing strategy they were using at the garage sale. They had that hanging there for $10, And right next to it, there was a pair of women's Carhartt bibbed overalls. They're in good shape. And they were talking. I heard them talking. They go, how much should we put on them? They go, I don't know. They're like $200 if you buy them new. And they go, okay. So I look and they put a $100 price tag on those overalls. I thought, man, it seems a little high for a garage sale. So I comped them on eBay, and you can buy them on eBay for $50 plus shipping. So about $65 or so with tax and shipping and everything all in. But yeah, it's funny that those, this is probably going to be worth more on eBay than those overalls. And that was $10 and those were $100. You just never know. So that was a pretty cool find. And I found a couple other small things at different garage sales yesterday. Nothing as different or cool as that. But then I found at a Goodwill. So I stopped by Goodwill, 2 Goodwills actually, on my way. I guess on my way home yesterday from the garage selling. And I was walking through. First thing I did, I walked back to the pot and pan aisle. Nothing. I walked to the mug, glass aisle. Nothing. Looked at hats. Nothing to buy. And I bought some good hats at those Goodwills. Nothing to buy there. Looked at even browsed through the home decor. Nothing. Electronics. Nothing. And started going through some of the clothes. There was nothing in jeans, pants. I mean, I'm just going down the list of basically every section in Goodwill. And there wasn't stuff for me to pick up at that point. And I saw a camouflage arm sticking out of the long sleeves on the bottom rack. And they have their shirts there on 2. So it's short sleeves up top, long sleeves on the bottom against a long wall. So this was sticking out. I was like, that's a cool camo pattern. Turns out it's old school camo pattern. You can tell because it says old school camo. That is the pattern. So I pulled it out to look at it. I saw that logo, which meant nothing to me. It wasn't Realtree, it wasn't Mossy Oak, it wasn't anything I recognized. And then whenever I got to the inside, I saw the tag. So this is Old Tom Technical Turkey Gear. There are no used ones listed. There's probably 10 or 15 sold for $40 to $45. So I'm going to say 45 because the demand is really high and the supply on used isn't there. So I'm going to price mine at $44.89 plus shipping. And maybe people who aren't interested in camo wouldn't have even given it a second look. But it's funny because camo is meant to camouflage, but in a sea of pinstripes and plaids, camo sticks out like a sore thumb to me. So I picked it up and took a look at it, and it paid off big time. So that was a pretty cool one. And then just this morning, I was at Goodwill on my way back from I was dropping my boys off at school and stopped in. And again, I went back to pots and pans. I looked at mugs. I went over to purses, hats, worked my way through the store, and then got around to the clothes. I went through jeans first. Then I looked at pants. I went through some long sleeve shirts and coats. Didn't see much. Nothing really in shoes. Then I came around to long sleeve shirts. And interestingly enough, I don't know what's going on. This is the same Goodwill. This happened to me once before. On the long sleeve shirts, at the end of the aisle, in this one particular place, I don't know why. The other day, I found a bunch of Duluth shorts and pants. I've already sold all the shorts in the wrong spot in the store. Doesn't make sense to me, but they were there, so I bought them, sold them. Found these jeans, 3 pair of jeans in the same place. 2 of them were Levi's that weren't worth buying. But I saw these. Because they were in the wrong place, it caught my eye. But then I just noticed that. But I felt them. I looked and I was like, I said, those look like just the look of them. It's hard to tell probably on camera, but when you're standing in person, you can tell the difference. The pockets aren't sagging. They don't look all wrinkled up and funky like a bunch of the cheaper, like stretchy jeans look. They just look like a premium jean. I saw this tag which I didn't recognize. Saw the little leather loop down here, which again, to me, means this is a premium detail on these jeans. So I looked them up. This Rocker brand apparently is for motorcycle riders, which it's got, you can see the tag there. It's got a little motorcycle guy on there. So I'm into these jeans for about 1083 or 1038 or 1083, I think, on those jeans. Most of the used ones that are listed are shipping from either the Ukraine or Canada, which tells me it's not a US brand. I don't know anything. I haven't done any of the research on these. But they sell from a variety of, say, like $60 to $150 to $200. The selvage denim, they have a lot of selvage denim. That is priced $100 and up. And then the just regular denim is priced kind of in that $60 to $100 range. Because of the shape these are in, I mean, just like near perfect shape, I'm going to price them at probably 75, maybe I might try for 80 bucks on them to see what see if that'll work. But the sell-through rate on these is probably about 75% on used jeans, 50 to 75% sell-through rate. So I expect to sell them within 30 to 60 days probably. But again, if I wasn't just kind of taking my time and looking for something different, something, that I wasn't used to seeing, what I used to do is I would go through and I just kind of had a list. I was like, oh, I want to look, and these aren't all the best brands to look for, but I'd be like, oh, I need to look for Calvin Klein and Polo and this and that, flipping through, and I wouldn't stop until I saw one of the brands that I recognized that I was specifically looking for. Now my approach is I'm almost looking for stuff. I know what I'm looking for, brands that I'd buy, but I purposely stop on stuff that I don't recognize. I look it up because I'm trying to expand my Rolodex of things that are up here while I'm shopping. I do have some notes on my phone as well, but I don't want to be flipping back and forth all the time. So I try to keep as good a Rolodex in my head as I can, just to see. And then I comp things on eBay and Google just to see where all it's being sold, different prices on different platforms, but ultimately I'm selling it on eBay. So I'm looking for comps there to look at the sell-through rate and that sort of thing. So in all three pieces, I've got $28 in all three pieces, including tax and everything. And I'm going to have a listed value of about $200, maybe just a little bit more on all three pieces. And I should say that doesn't always happen. You can't always go, in a day and a half or so and find that. Sometimes it's, there's not a lot of stuff being donated at that time, or the garage sales aren't hot and you can't find as much stuff. So you can't expect to walk into 2 or 3 thrift stores and within 20 minutes find $200 worth of stuff for $28. It just doesn't always work that way. And I was talking to a buddy this morning, and I was talking to him when I found these jeans, and he's like, oh man, that's awesome. I can't believe you just found those. And I said, well, I didn't just find them. Before I got to this pair of jeans, I probably touched, 200 hangers or so, maybe more, before I got to these. And there was probably about 15 items I comped before I got to these that I didn't buy. And then there was a handful of items I did buy that aren't here. So this is new brands tying into the being curious about things. I bought some kind of bread and butter type stuff. I bought a cool quarter zip, a Marmot t-shirt, some different stuff, as well. But, I had to touch a lot of things before I could get to these really cool pants. So I didn't just walk in and go, oh, cool pants, and pick them up and buy them. So that's really about it. As you're out and about, just try to learn more. And if you don't want to learn more and you're happy buying the exact things you buy and that's it, good for you. I'm cool with that. Absolutely. Leaves more for the rest of us. But I'm always trying to look for other ways to enhance my eBay business, and doing stuff like this is part of that plan. So if you have any comments or questions, opinions, just whatever about, what I've just been talking about, feel free to leave those in the comments below and I'll get back to you. There's a great community of people here, and, if you have questions that I can answer, maybe they can answer them. You never know. So I really appreciate you watching. If the channel's been growing like bananas, and it's so amazing to watch that. And I know I've said it before, but it's very humbling to see people that are tuning in and leaving comments. It's pretty awesome. But I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I truly do. But yeah, that's it. I hope you have a great weekend,